Men, why do you often say you're fine even when you're not? Because I think most believe that nobody truly gives a fuck. Yeah, it's a combination of no one really cares. The average person cannot do anything to change that. I don't want to make family friends worry about me. I don't want to bum everyone out and ruin the vibe. I've been on and off depressed for the last 15 years, with varying reasons to do with family members and living situations, etc., and only a handful of people know about how bad I was feeling and how close I was to ending it. I used to leave my house and sit in a park strumming my guitar, trying not to break down in tears, from 11 a.m. until 1 a.m., a minimum of 5 days a week, because I couldn't be at home. The last thing you want when feeling down is anyone pitying you, so you keep it locked up inside. My entire life as a man, I've been taught two things. I need to be coming up with solutions to problems, and if I'm not useful, I'm useless. The moment I ask for help or show that I need help with a problem, rather than being the one helping with a problem, I am then regarded as the problem. When I am the problem, I'm not useful. See above. It doesn't take a genius to see that vicious cycle unfold into some serious mental issues. If I started saying what's wrong, I don't know when I'd stop. A lot of people would feel bad, and I'd most certainly feel worse. Sometimes not talking is better. Because you can't fix it. I don't have the energy to start to dive into why I'm not fine when I know there is no resolution. Anything I say can and will be used against me. Because if I tell you I'm not fine, it inexplicably somehow turns into me trying to comfort and reassure you. No, it's not because of you. No, I'm not mad that you thought this was all about you. Well, you shouldn't feel guilty. I'm sorry you're upset now. Of course I still love you. I'm sorry for upsetting you, honey. No, I promise I'm fine. Everything is perfect. A lot of men say they're fine, even when they're not, because it's easier than opening up, especially in situations where they feel like they might be judged or don't want to seem vulnerable. It's often about avoiding conflict or being perceived as strong or in control. Society sometimes encourages men to bottle things up, which makes it harder to admit when they're struggling. It's a learned behavior, but more people are recognizing the importance of being honest about their emotions. Once, we can't fix it. You can't fix it. I can't fix it. Whatever IT is, we don't have the means, knowledge, experience, or connections to fix the problem. Two, we don't want to cause ripples. By saying we are not fine, it opens the door to us venting potentially unwanted insight into our mental state. Insight that could harm your perception of us, kill the mood or vibe about us, cause people to view us differently, and isolate us from the few social connections we have. Third, you don't need ammo. Very often, almost comically often, when we do open up about how not fine we are, women will remember it and use it as a metaphorical low blow in an argument. Don't say, I would never. That's so mean. I can't believe you think I'd do that. Because you do. You always do. So to save us all the trouble and keep things par for the course, we are fine. Evidence of me not being fine will be used against me. Setting doesn't matter in my experience. One of my grandparents died during high school. I was very close with them. A year later, I was still not doing great, and the other kids were calling me an emo wuss to my face. And two of my teachers yelled at me to move on and participate in class. I was still doing great in school, just didn't care to engage with others much. In grad school, for the health field, a close family member had a serious health condition, and I thought they were going to die, so I tried working remote. This was years before COVID, but it was fine. Yes, my work quality suffered, but was still generally good. It amounted to an extra round or two of edits on papers. I thought we were good, since they stressed balance and mental health since we are in the health field. Well, someone didn't like it and wanted me in the office. The chair rolled their eyes at me and said, if you can't handle your personal problems, I don't think a career in research is for you. Do you even want to be here? What is especially infuriating about my grad school experience is that a student had free rein to take a few weeks off after her cat died. I have more stories like the above. Damn near every man I know has, and it sucks. Having people not give a shit would be an improvement. Very well said. Men are taught to not open their emotions up, and when women open up their emotions, They tend to not want to be given solutions, but want to be listened to and felt heard and cared for. So we learn to be supportive in this way. We also learn that confidence is what is attractive. Women are drawn to security. So when a man is asked to open up and become vulnerable, this is what happens. First, the man isn't necessarily good at opening up and processing, so there is some deep sensitivity that opens up, and it may not be stable. We are opening up stuff that women tend to deal with day in, day out, and clear out better than we do. So what we're opening up may seem like a lot, and it may seem like we are making a big deal about something that a woman has learned to deal with many times over and not think about as much. Second, the woman is now in the support role, the role of being a stable rock for her man, confident and supportive, being present and hearing what he has to say. If she tries to find solutions or ask him why he doesn't do this or that, not only is it the same thing that happens when a man tries to do this to a woman, it is all happening in a more vulnerable state. This can lead to the woman feeling at a loss for how to be supportive, feeling like her suggestions are not being helpful, and then for her own emotions to become affected, leading the man to fall back into the role of supporting her, letting her know it'll be okay. Down the road, that vulnerability represents weakness and instability. The woman may feel that her man isn't the rock she thought he was, and may be surprised that behind his confidence and stable heart is an ocean of emotions he is inept at tapping into and working with, which is a weakness. He may not feel confident and sexy to her anymore. For some women, that loss of the feeling that her partner is that stable, confident rock then makes him less attractive to her. In multiple threads like this, we have seen many reports of men who have opened up and been vulnerable, and then she left him because of it. So in the end, the takeaway is that if men are going to be open and vulnerable with women, we need to understand how to do gender role reversals. And I think it is absolutely hugely important for men to open their emotions and start getting experience with vulnerability, because that vulnerability can be turned into a strength. We just have to learn to work in a space that we don't have experience with. Once we are open, it isn't about getting overwhelmed by feeling. It is about listening to what that feeling is communicating to us so that we can process it and empty it out. Then we can be both open and clear, and that gives us more room to support our partners with confidence. When we are empty of our own stuff, we can really show up. But better yet, because our heart is open, we are much more present for connection and able to really take the other in. In the end, the divine masculine and the divine feminine are simply the masculine learning to embrace its own femininity and the feminine learning to embrace its own masculinity, which is simply balance, divinity. But in relationships, we like being two parts of a whole rather than just one whole that shares with another whole. The more we are able to understand how to be whole within ourselves, the more we are able to summon the part of ourselves that is needed to show up for another. If that part of ourselves is undeveloped, then it can't meet the other. If both people try to connect with undeveloped skills, we quickly learn that it doesn't work so well. But that just means we have something to work on.